First, I'm going to start off with the movie made by me, directed by me, produced by me, cameraman, me.
My baby boy, Dillon Chase Darnell. Such a joy and always very special to me. Precocious and animated, as a toddler he was already performing, using handheld objects as pretend microphones. He loved to entertain and could turn a dull family gathering into knee-slapping fun with his impressions of Hulk Hogan, MC Hammer, and even Gomer Pyle. Proud to display our little family ham, we enjoyed and encouraged his outgoing personality, never dreaming of all the awesome ways God would someday use his ever-emerging gifts and abilities. In school, Dillon's interests varied, both artistic and athletic. Many an hour was spent pursuing hoop dreams as well as other creative projects. His focus and discipline produced many polished performances. Soon music would take center stage, and all that focus shifted into writing, producing, and performing. Turbulent teen years with home life crumbling and the family split apart, leaving Dillon alone, bouncing around from his aunt's house to Brother Shane's and beyond. His ever-present music an outlet for expressing his disappointment. But God had plans, big plans. So at age 18, Dillon would experience God. Now born again, his music had new meaning, divine inspiration, and purpose. Currently, with a family of his own, awesome husband, father, son, and talent, with a growing ministry, I'm humbled by the ways God is using Dillon in reaching youth for his glory, and grateful for the restoration God has blessed our family with. Unable to maintain any regrets in the light of it all.
My name is Dillon Chase, and this is my album, Drifting. I really feel like more than ever, this album has pulled out every resource that God has given me, every gift He's entrusted me with. I try to just fully spend it all for this album. I can remember the first time I ever rapped. It was at my great-grandfather's birthday party. I was about 4 years old, and my Uncle David had taught me to do the Funky Monkey rap. So that was my first time that I performed a rap. I was 4 years old. I didn't really start writing rap music till I was 13. Before that, I loved to write stories. I can even remember being in second grade and my handwriting was so horrible that my teacher decided any story that I wrote, just read it to the class because she couldn't hardly make it out. And that was my first time seeing how what I write could impact other people. And it's just crazy to think that I serve a God who way back, when I was just a young kid and things that my family saw in me, God knew this album Drifting was going to come out. He knew the day it was going to come out. He knew the amount of people that were going to be affected by it. So we approached this album Drifting far different from any other album I've done. Normally I probably work on an album over a year period. We decided to do this album, the bulk of it, in 2 weekends. And so I approached this album differently for a few reasons. I'll say the spiritual reason first was I wanted to put myself in a position spiritually where I was forced to be wholly dependent on God. I could no longer rely on just a natural spurt of inspiration or natural ability. So spiritually, with all the team of musicians I worked with, we were in a position where we had to be fully dependent on God. The other reason was because of necessity. Now being, like almost 4 years into being a full-time artist, I began to wonder, when am I going to have time to work on an album? I said, well, how about I just try to take a whole year-long, experience and just cram it into 2 weekends and see what God does. Choosing the team for Drifting was really a no-brainer for me. There was nothing that was really hard about trying to choose the team. I feel like the team was predestined. I feel like the team maybe even chose me. So I'll start with Halo because I've known him the longest out of everyone on the project.
Hi, I'm Clint Lightfoot. I go by Halo Hits. I'm the co-executive producer for the album called Drifting by Dillon Chase. I met him at a Trip Lee concert in Ada, Oklahoma. I met him there, saw him perform with the windy gust blowing his microphone around.
I chose him because he's just that rare combination of talent and humility and willingness to learn and willingness to adjust to fit the bigger vision and serve the greater good. The second, executive producer is On Beat Music. This is a guy who I've known for a little over 3 years. I mean, he's lived with me for over 2 months at one point, and we've just developed a really close friendship.
How I know about Dillon, how I heard about him the first time, I was actually back in San Antonio when I was lost. I wasn't even a Christian. When I heard about him in 2007, somebody had mentioned him because they mentioned about Lecrae and Trip Lee and this album called 13 Letters. And
we already worked on Speak Up Volume 3 together, so I really feel like On Beat Music has helped elevate the quality of my music and the consistency of it. He challenges me. We get in the most hilarious fights.
So what we're about to do right now is something highly classified. Dillon,
you better go get to work on them beats.
I came over here to give you the microphone.
The devil is a lie.
My microphone.
We always repent. He always admits he's wrong at the end of it and comes back. Drew Weeks is a great songwriter. He's also a great vocalist. And I chose him because after we worked together on Heart,
oh Lord, move in my heart. Fall back in love with you again.
just hearing the chorus for Heart and the chill bumps go up on the back of your neck and the passion in his voice.
My role in the album, I had a unique ability to be able to write as well as help with some melodies in the album.
We also brought Boyd. Boyd is a brother I go to church with, and he doesn't think he knows a lot about music, but he knows a whole lot about music, and that made me think of Nacho Libre.
And they don't think I know a buttload of crap about the gospel, but I do.
I had first heard about Dillon whenever started going to Sovereign Grace, and a lot of people kept asking me if I played guitar, and I said yeah, and they said, man, you have to meet Dillon.
He'll produce noises out of his electric guitar that I don't even know are possible, so I loved having him there. Also, he came in as really a project manager to kind of be the father figure who says, hey guys, let's get to work. What is OB doing? He's on his phone. Not working. Go get him, Boyd. This is the muscle.
Why you no work?
Are they working? Okay. False alarm?
False alarm. We got worked up over that.
And then Matt Wright. I first met Matt. My daughter Malia just totally fell in love with him, and I feel like 5-year-olds are a great judge of character. Time to wake up, boy. It ain't like you've been up since 4 in the morning. Malia say, what are you doing, bro? What are you doing, bro? And we just started talking about life and about music, and as he was telling me more about his experience, and we had some mutual friends, I was like, okay, this is weird. I mean, this kid's 20 years old. We just met, and I'm about to ask him to be a part of probably my biggest album in my life. And I said, hey, would you be interested in engineering for my next album, Drifting? And he said that he was interested. And so what was the coolest part about Matt is that we brought him on as an audio engineer, and he shows up with a trumpet, a bass guitar, an electric guitar. And I'm like, why do you have all these instruments? He's like, well, just in case, you guys need me, I'd love, to help out. And he ended up playing all of those instruments throughout the album. He wrote harmonies for certain tracks. He sang background vocals, and he was really the it factor. So the concept Drifting came to me in a vision. No, not really, but it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm doing the typical dad thing, right? I'm laying down in bed, but I'm like, man, did I pay the mortgage payment? Did I pay the electric bill? Did I pay this? I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And then I literally see the phrase drifting in my mind. I could see the letters slowly spacing themselves out, and so the G is totally divorced from the rest of the phrase drifting, and he's just out alone. I've seen the effects of it in my own life. I felt like the drifting concept was confirmed when my pastor, Randy Tyler, who's been in my life, for over 11 years, said it takes no energy to drift. It requires no effort. And I remember writing that down in my notes on my phone and saying, wow, 2 weeks ago, I started thinking about drifting, and now I'm hearing it, from my pastor. And I knew that I wanted to tell a story. I wanted to do something different with this album. I was actually going to try to tell the story in the album. So every track would be a chapter. I would totally take on this character of this sailor throughout the whole album. But I just started thinking, a hip-hop album is not the best medium for that. So I said, okay, I've rediscovered my passion for writing and storytelling. I'm gonna write a short story about a sailor. But I got really bored with it. So I remember we were driving to Malakoff, Texas for a concert, and we're driving and we're listening to Interstellar, which some people know that's one of my favorite movies. I've sampled it in past songs. And I was just like, it's not just drifting through water, like, how dramatic would it be to drift through space? Like, how terrifying would that be? I remember flying to California with my son Julian to be on Juice TV and being in the airplane, and I'm like, I gotta write this story. And there was something about writing a story about outer space and being just a little bit closer. And I remember the first words I typed were, Adam Sphere wanted to touch the stars. Adam Sphere wanted to touch the stars. A chorus of crickets, locusts, and rustling trees grew strangely faint as the gravity of the stars pulled him in. And so if this story deals with an astronaut drifting through space, how do we talk about a Christian drifting from God? Album weekend was beautiful. I fell in love with Broken Bow, Oklahoma, my wife and I's 4th anniversary. And so this is where we went to create the album. Hey guys, it's Facebook Live.
Hey, what's up?
0 people.
Hi guys. 0 people, dude. That's...
We just turned this cabin, a multi-room studio. So this is where the production takes place with Halo and OB. There we have the vocal studio set up. And this guy is so excited to be here. This is my uncle, Uncle Halo.
Uncle Halo.
And we always try to watch our health whenever we're working. So we have all our healthy snacks right here. That way we stay full, but we also stay fit. We got some magic going on over here. Boyd, he's the oldest, so we call him Dad. So what are you working on right now?
Get out of my ear!
What are you working on? People want to know.
Okay, I'm trying to say.
I mean, take that hoodie off, man. No 116, only Dillon Chase clothing.
What?
I'm just gonna say this is OB's restroom. We pretty much gave him his own restroom due to past incidents. So here's Matt. He's he's my ghostwriter, so he's actually been behind all of my albums. Not really, but I just met this guy about a month ago, and now he's here as our audio engineer. Halo, what's the purpose of these skulls that you brought? Can you tell the people? People are asking questions.
Yes.
So what do the skulls represent?
They represent. We gotta die to ourselves.
Live for Christ,
Live for
and
Christ.
serve others.
Oh.
Die daily. It was just this sweet atmosphere like nothing I've experienced. It might have helped that, we're kind of away from the responsibilities of life and free just to create. Just to be in a room full of creative people. We're all super sensitive, but we're all super passionate. And just for us, we get each other because we're creatives. And they start cranking out music, quicker than I can write. Get that camera out of here. This is just called a one-take scratch vocal, not the final.
You want me to count you in since there's no
No, I'm just gonna feel it. Do you ever need to swallow right before you start recording and it's like you forget how to swallow? Yeah, I'm like, I can't swallow, but I know I need to. There we go, alright. Like I caught a case when your face glowed, and stars never felt this close. God, let her feel this ghost. She wanted all the peace, but I was a threat. I had nothing to eat, never had a chat.
I see you, okay, cheater.
Yeah.
Hey, sing for half a sec. I just want to make sure your level's good.
I would say with solar systems, just thinking over Dillon's relationship with Samantha and trying to adequately express that vocally Not just hearing a melody and trying to sing it, but really putting the passion into it. Just creating the relationships that I have with the guys that helped on the project. I believe that the music was going to be the best part for me, but over time, developing the brotherhood that I have with these guys really was most important to me.
So day one is coming to a close. It's like almost 2 a.m. Got a song and a half written. Got a good 3 beats started, 2 of them really close to being finished. And it's just day one. And it's almost 2 a.m. and Halo is still working. And now I think I hear Boyd out there working. So the inspiration and creativity is thick. I miss my family, and I'm a little worried after trying to write 2 full songs on one night. I'm seeing it's quite the task. Trying to flex that creative muscle, but also depend on Christ.
So working with Halo on Atmosphere, and I put the headphones on and I'm thinking, man, this is pretty neat. And so I just started kind of dabbling with this little thing. I wanted it to sound eerie. I wanted it to sound out of place, almost like a slightly detuned piano.
Playing it out with the mega man. We be headed to heaven and we got a test on the great I am. Automatically makes me think like I can do something with my life.
You can. With your life.
Every day we have a tendency to drift. We could go home from this weekend on Monday and deny the gospel. For those of us who are husbands, ruin our family. For those of us who are parents, emotionally scar our children. And when you recognize that we have the tendency to drift, that puts us in the right direction and saying, okay, what can I do to not drift? You carry around your most deadly enemy right there inside of you, and it's called the flesh. So we have this sin in us, this old man that would like nothing more than for us to drift and for us to shipwreck our faith, and we have to have him with us every day. We can't get away from him. He's always there waiting for us when we wake up. If you're not moving closer to Jesus, you're moving further away. We have to be very aware that our sin and our flesh is just waiting for us to just ease up for a second so we can begin to drift. It's one of those things when you're done and you look up, you don't realize like exactly how far away you've gotten, and it could be a painful process just to get back. Lord, we thank you, God, that you're the cure to every spiritual disease that we have. And like one thing it says is like, it's only cute when a kid tells you, I want to be an astronaut, but like not with him, because he was like, he already had his plan set out. He was like, wow, like
he was determined.
You're determined.
Yeah.
And so this song is really talking about as a believer, right? Because remember the story is just an allegory. The substance is like, we should be that determined to pursue Christ, at all costs. As I've matured, I've learned that sometimes, and this is the first line, we disguise pride as boldness. I'm just bold for the gospel, and it's like, no, you're prideful, you're arrogant, and you're rude. Alright, here's one of the songs we've been working on called Tone It Down. I got like my first verse and part of my second verse done, so let you guys hear it.
Sometimes we cover what pride is boldness, and we hide the bold print, disguise the focus, make faith say grace, camouflage the goal with delicate fun, never applaud lies the oldest. Dad told me, give it up, nothing left to be. Holding me back, kept moving game tight, I don't step loosely, I don't know your name, catch Uzis. That's to the lies the flesh fed through these. Kermit said a culture, chill, and tell me that the...
So I'm trying to find time to write at the same rate that they're putting music out. So I'm putting music on my phone, and me and Boy, when we go to a grocery run, I'm trying to write music on the way. And this is a track that Halo Boy OB worked on. We're on the way to get groceries. It's like a 30-minute drive, and to make the most use of our time, I'm trying to write some music while we drive through this beautiful scenery. This is how it is when you're lazy and you don't want to type your lyrics. You just tell Siri what to say. Persistent in the prayer. Wishing isn't there. Committed to the care. Diligent, prepared. Missionary, flair. Oh dang, it said missionary slayer. That is not, Siri, that is not what I said.
Being the chef for album weekend, I like to cook. And I think one of the best ways people can fellowship is just over a meal.
What is that?
Dude, chip in my face.
There's another time you can use one of Dillon's lines. Salsa. Huh?
What?
I know it'd be nice to tell you that everything on album weekend 1 was just roses and smooth, but it wasn't, because we're all sinful people and we all have different ideas and hurts and pains.
When Jerk Dillon has arrived, you'll know. Like,
being away from family. I strategically planned my wife to take a trip to visit her best friend in Seattle, and so that way I knew that my wife was getting to be with her best friend, and she was there with our youngest, Josiah. My 3 other children were with my mom and dad in another cabin. I remember like the second day, or really the first full day, I just started getting annoyed. You know, I just felt like OB was breathing unnecessarily loud right down my neck. They're talking about creating a 4th meal, and I'm thinking budget-wise, like, I already paid for this food, and y'all are gonna say you're gonna eat again at 10 p.m. And I just got in what's known as Jerk Dillon mode.
What is Jerk Dillon to me? It's like having like 4 brothers, and you have that one middle brother that nobody likes.
You know what, guys? I gotta go. And I went to go spend time with my family. I love my family. We get along so well. We just love each other so much that sometimes when I'm not around my family, I get like moody because I miss my family. And it was so good just to have my daughters run up and hug me around my neck, and to hang out with Julian. And my mom made an awesome meal, and I got to ask my mom questions about what she thought about my music.
Huh?
I got the camera.
Please do not.
I need to know that when I was a teenager, did you know I had a studio in my room?
Thought you were a drug dealer.
What did you think
Why
when
were
you
you so
found
secretive?
because my music was evil. Not anymore though. I'm proud
I
of
didn't
it.
really know until I saw that poster at Shane's apartment. By the gravestone.
Yep, that's when I found out. Were you hurt when you figured out with all the potential I had, I just became a rapper?
I was proud that you were talented and ambitious.
I see the matter here in this atmosphere. Trying to get up out of here, yeah, that's kinda weird. They drew me in, huh? Then they drug me out. I saw all the stars, but didn't know who flung them out. Lord of my salvation, glory so abrasive. I need the truest reality grabbing me, taking me out of this gravity, challenging all of the fallacies, binding me, tackling everything holding me down will be shattering. Hold on real quick. Do you have like a preference on, do you prefer stuff with a lot of like little extra ad-lib background vocals, or just sometimes you like just a straight raw like one lead vocal, just make it really good?
I think it depends.
It does. I'm trying to figure out what this song is good for. I really hate to record when I don't have the vocals memorized, but I wrote this last night. Hey, my son just texted me. He said, "Love you. I'm going to bed. Good night and sleep well." When your kid's 14 and they text you, "I love you," you just know that life is going to be okay. They tell me to tone it down, but my 14-year-old just told me he loves me, so I think I'm doing something right. Sometimes we disguise the... Dang it. I don't have my lyrics out. I was feeling myself a little too much. Here we go.
Lies the flesh fed through these currents of the culture. Chill. They tell me that the burden is too much to fill, and the holy worship is overkill. I'd rather be killed over worship still.
Back in 2012, me and my friend were doing an EP. His name's Mikey, and I was like, God, some of these rappers just have the coolest like ad-libs that there's catchphrase, and I feel like they just say whatever and it just becomes cool because they make it cool. So we decided that day I was gonna start saying mango. And then every album since then, any type of like fun track, I say mango in the ad-libs. Like, you don't know it, but like do it anyway. You already know. I say like, mango! And just say it. So I'm gonna say it in this one too. That's my thing. I love mangoes. Serving Christ is the mango. Bear fruit, mango. Hold up.
Everybody downtown. Oh.
Tone it down. Tone it down.
Everybody downtown. Tone it down.
Matt Damien. When Dylan hears a beat that he likes, the reaction, it's pretty funny. It's pretty good.
That's Matt.
Okay, so you're gonna come in real quick.
I'm just excited to have another productive day. This is another big, important day to try to get, my goal is to have 9. Now, I don't know if I'll have all 9 written. Even yesterday when I wrote the Atmosphere song, I was like really forcing it out. Lord, help us to not lose the reality of your life, your death, your burial, your resurrection, the gospel.
Coming up with the track and then it sounding like somebody else's track, and so it would sound a little too similar, so we'd have to kind of scrap it and go around. Working on Star Sailor, it was really a fun track to work on. What was really cool was I believe it was Drew's vocals that we used to kind of give it this really weird feeling. That was kind of like a general theme of the album, was to have vocals infused throughout the whole album, which was really brilliant. Just using those weird vocals and the musicality kind of made it seem musical, and then it also made it seem new and different.
I kind of like it like that. You know what I'm saying? Without that vocal part.
It's still like spacey.
Yeah.
That whatever that synth thing is.
What is happening right now?
Yeah. Feel like I'm straight to the start. Maybe I'm crazy to y'all. Growing like planets in Mars.
He makes that face all day.
I'm not going backwards, none of that.
Forward motion.
Yeah. At least going forward, you fall down and get up.
Drew voice is unique when the dude speaks. His beard is red and his hair is pretty groovy. He likes to wear that hat, it swallows his big head so he don't look like Hey Arnold. He's got a brother and his brother is a teacher. He lost his cell phone but his mama gave a beeper. His people say that he was just a creeper. He sleeps on the floor, he's a floor sleeper. There's a dog and her name is Noelle. She be sleeping on the floor like it's a hotel. And she be crying, she be barking in every track. I'ma leave her here, I ain't gonna take her back. You don't wanna smell her breath, got the rotten tooth. Yeah, it's rotten, but you know it ain't the gospel truth.
My wife was the one who reeled me in because there were certain songs that I thought were like 8.5s. She rated it a 5. She took the song Star Sailor from sounding like this.
I'm sailing on the stars, I am so high. When the valley's not too far from the low tide, but still prevailing over Mars.
To sounding like this.
I'm sailing on the stars and I'm so high. When the valley's not too far from the low tide, but still prevailing over Mars. All the planets he's in charge. He could tell them made them all, that is no lie.
One thing that really kept my spirits high on album weekend 1 was Julian just sending me the most encouraging messages, sending me hilarious videos.
Tell Daddy what we just saw.
We just saw the catfish. And I'm not gonna eat it, but I'm gonna eat my hair.
What did Papa take out of the catfish that he let you see?
His heart.
I caught OB like producing in his sleep.
I have to like take naps and stuff to really like keep me rested, to like really work on stuff. But yeah, there's times where I create in my sleep. It's crazy.
He'd be on the couch with his eyes closed, like you know he's asleep, and then he starts going. I'm like, okay, he's producing in his sleep right now. So Lord willing, it'll be 6 songs by the end of the day. And I was riding outside, but I got attacked by mosquitoes, so now I'm in my van. And this track is crazy.
Got me a good one, babe. Didn't tell, gotta move that mountain. I just asked him to give me strength. Climbed up with a righteous one, Midas touch, laid hold when the kid was weak. Now I got the gold, impossible became victory. Yeah, now I keep it moving, small guy in a really big lead like Pistol Pete.
I'm about to let OB know how I feel about his beat. But he's kind of asleep right now, but that's okay.
So I ain't shot 6 guys, never got close. Elevated to the top, Lord. I don't work out, way trust God more. Then he worked for me, no stun double. I see the words lovely and a sun trouble. I know why I was created. Haters, you can annihilate favor. Later my savior was homeless, but rained on the throne with a bow with a black of the sun. Yeah, that's major. Ooh, don't play by the rules of the natural. Miraculous methods, we dead to death.
He done. We're finished.
How did it go over the sun?
We'll edit out that last part.
So it started, the flat tire situation started with us trying to make funny footage on Dillon's GoPro.
We just stole Dillon's minivan. I don't know what we're about to do in it, but
good stuff.
We're still in this joint. So we were sent out on a mission by ourselves, but we just figured it'd be smart to take the young blood with us.
Get your purse and get in the van.
Oh, we got the young blood in the car now. It's when the fun begins.
I had to ask you twice, boy.
Maybe we just won't tell Dillon and then just let him find it.
The tire's not only flat, but it's ripped to pieces.
The song Drifting and how it happened and how it got created, it was Star Sailor. and we were working on Star Sailor, and Halo has sent me his version, and I plugged it into my computer, and Drew was by my MIDI keyboard, and he just hit a note.
Ready? Go.
And what he didn't know was that my keyboard was locked into Halo's sample, and it like played a low version of Star Sailor. So if you were to like get that piece in the beginning of Drifting, the song Drifting, and just speed it up, it would actually be a piece of Star Sailor.
Just the time signature of Drifting, just the tempo of Drifting was very hard just to rap to. So it's probably the closest song on the album where I'm probably singing more than rapping. And once I decided to fully just embrace that and not try to rap to it, the writing process became easier, but it's one of the darkest moments on the album. I thought I'd go outside to write it, and I got swarmed by mosquitoes. Matt and Drew were up there when I recorded it just to help me vocally, and so that was one. It was like nerve-wracking to have to try to like sing in front of actual singers, but that's what auto-tune is for. But no, they really helped coach me, and they were really affirming of it.
Did the master of my plot, yeah, see me wrapped around the writing, passions that were lost, yeah, help crafted by my thoughts. I got literal brain cells. Did the master of my plot, yeah, see me wrapped around the writing. I'm drifting, yeah. No coming back from the distance. Yeah, the captain is missing away from view. I used to look at my family and think I am the leader they need, but the brink of despair has been reached. Now I sink as I drift through the endless abyss of defeat. I'm drifting, yeah. No coming back from the distance. Yeah, the captain is missing away from view. I'm drifting away from you.
He would never sail the stars. He would never touch their dust. He would never feel his dad's arms carrying him through the field. I can't. This is when Adam made a choice that would change everything. A choice so selfish it would create a vacuum in his family's heart forever. The choice to detach from his space tether and enter the drift.
So on the song Detached, OB had a brilliant idea to have the song come in and just be really, really dope, and at this faster tempo, and then all of a sudden it just slows down and just kind of detaches, because it kind of sonically just makes you detach and just comes into this really slow tempo, and it's really, really brilliantly done by OB.
Well, I wasn't expecting really to do a whole lot on Monday, but I had another song. They had produced a beat for a song called Detached, which is a really important moment in the story and album. And I remember waking up early that morning off like 3 hours of sleep. I'm out on the porch and I'm trying to write this song Detached, and it's just like, feel like I'm forcing the lines out one by one. So I'm trying to crank out one last song within the next 2.5 hours, and the song's called Detached, and it's a real turning point in the album where you've had some forward momentum, you've had some conflict come, and then now there's this conscious decision to say, you know what, I'm going to detach from the things that matter most, which is my family, my faith community, and my relationship with Christ ultimately. So I'm like, Matt, let's try to record this, and I'm like, great, like I forgot to write a chorus, let me try to come up with a chorus. And we literally, everyone's going in and out of the house, loading up their stuff. And I'm like, be quiet, we're trying to record. And like, we recorded right up to the very end.
So the Libra rap is finding my freedom. At you expense, I am lacking the sense. So the test, I'm adrift, yeah, but what am I free from?
Album weekend 2 was definitely crunch time.
I got my homie Drew Weeks with me. Album weekend 2.0. We got Friday and Saturday, and then the album has to be done. We are just like a few minutes away from the airport in OKC. We're picking up Alexis. So this time I flew in my favorite cello player, a cellist, not a celloist, but a cellist. Alexis came in.
Malia,
What?
do you know this person's name?
I know. I don't know.
Oh, it's okay.
Then she's a stranger.
It's okay.
You need to introduce yourself and then find out what her name is.
What's your name? Pakwiki.
So we had a potential hazard we avoided. We didn't have a cello. We had a cello player, but the airline wouldn't let her check in her cello. So we had to get one to borrow, which that's just not something you'd be like, hey man, you got a cello I could borrow? And then we didn't want like a trashy Walmart cello. Those don't sound good. So thankfully, a lady I've worked with for over like 5 years, Suzanne, she goes to our church at times and visits. She's an amazing violin player. She had a connection at the local university. Dad, where have you been?
You know, been around the world and I can't find it.
Doug's here, so we have to start the whole album over. Quiet on set, let's go! Here we go. I wrote a verse so good, I can't rap it. I need someone else to rap it. Too many distractions.
I got out of my lane, now I'm running lights and I just can't stop. Too busy to be with them, I keep distance and my vision been getting off. Fatherhood in the backseat, put him in a taxi, then get lost. You lie to yourself, telling your family with God.
I think that one will be a good take, because I did it 2 times. The last 2 takes I kind of messed that one up.
That's where you lie to yourself, telling your family regardless that you will not miss the mark, not knowing you're aiming into the...
I like that. Let me hear it again. So on album weekend 2, there was a sense of pressure that was different than album weekend 1. And we also just came to my house. Now, initially, my wife was gonna go with our kids to my mom and dad's house. So she was gonna just let me take over our whole house and bring a bunch of people over. So the plan was this would be our vocal studio, and then we would set up a production studio in my kid's bedroom. But life happens, and my daughter Samara got sick, and I mean more sick than we've ever seen her. My wife took her to urgent care, and my wife was almost ready to take her to ER. So my whole family ended up staying, and so I had to see how to create an album and make space for everyone, but still be there as the best as I could for my wife.
Right now, him speak, but I feel my time is getting shorter. Yeah, before the Father just might give me over.
I'm over here trying to write one of the last songs for the album. I want to reveal to y'all my ghostwriter. Malia Grace, picking flowers. Yeah, we do it like today. I got sick in the cockpit of a renegade rocket, looking into space nauseous, counting down now the bomb lit. Guess I feel like the promise.
I remember just crying and just hugging my wife and just praying together that last night and just saying, God, heal our baby, please. Like, you know, comfort our hearts, take away our fear. And around that time, I was writing the song Black Holes. And I was just so thankful that we're praying over a sick child. We're not grieving a dead child. And so that was eye-opening as I began to write Black Holes, which was probably the most gut-wrenching song to write that weekend, probably for the whole album. You know, drug addiction has hit my family hard, and
that particular
one?
one?
Yeah, keep it, but let's see if we can layer it. Maybe.
Yeah, I like.
Something like that.
That was it.
Yep. He's another friend with a different faces, getting a bit impatient. He has not seen his kid in ages. He has missed so many stages. No little league, no Christmas plays, and birthdays or big vacations. Wants to go back to prison cages. At least then he had visitation. And I've seen daddies get their time taken. I know women who feel like God hate them. Because after her 3rd miscarriage, her world did perish.
cherish, and that's when she stopped praying. Her husband buries his wife at a grave, he said, who will teach Lil Crazy to shave her legs? God, on my own, how will I raise these kids? It's the road marked with suffering where my Savior lives.
Transcendent Light, they totally rescued that song. That song came from a chord progression that I wrote 4 years ago.
On album weekend 1, we were working on it. It wasn't really getting to the level that we needed it to. And so when album weekend 2 came around, we had done some more changes. OB came in, did some really sick drums to it.
Dylan sends me a text with the audio for Transcendent Light and literally wanted me to write to this song that I'd already kind of heard the music to, but at the same time was nervous because I knew the depth of what he put behind this song.
And I kept trying to write a chorus and they sounded horrible. They sounded like some late 90s Michael W. Smith, Stephen Curtis Chapman. Alexis played cello. Matt added like, I don't know why you did that to me, Matt, 16 layers of guitar tracks. And we brought everyone in, and there's this one moment where everyone just sings, kind of like we had a makeshift choir of Drew, Matt, and Alexis. And we're all in here in the studio, and like the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. Working with features was pretty simple because I didn't really want a lot of features. I kind of started out with not wanting any features other than Drew. But then I realized it's okay to feature some people. So of course we have Die Daily Live Forever, which features Cadence. We also featured Sean C. Johnson, another guy on Die Daily. Alright, so we got Sean here for a song called Black Holes.
Yes, indeed.
And he's read the story. I made him read the story. He's
great story, by the way, man.
Start recording. I made him drive all the way down here to the middle of nowhere.
Praying you can hear me, got me on my knees.
Have you thought about starting to take this singing stuff more serious? And like,
man, people have told me that, man, but I don't know, I'm just not really that confident in what I do, man. Like,
I think you should like
really
look into like touring, like the UK and
wow,
all types of stuff. I really think that you might have a gift. I mean,
you know what, man? That means a lot. I think I'm gonna do it, bro.
I think what you really need is you need to actually hear how good you sound. So let me.
Can we get a play?
I recorded it.
Yeah, bro.
I just recorded what you did.
Let's do it, man.
I'm gonna let you hear it because there's something about your voice. You know, it sounds to you one way, but when you actually hear it on the record, you're gonna be very pleased.
Wow.
Yeah. Jerry Mana was on Star Sailor. We're on a mini family vacation to Tulsa, which I promise my wife is interviewing me. I promise I didn't plan it to Tulsa on purpose just to meet up with Jerry Mana. But since we're in Tulsa, what up?
I'm coming, dog. I'm coming.
Anything you'd rather be doing on a Thursday night?
Hey, he hit me with the random right off the top.
But they told us no parties are allowed. So.
Hey, we finna have one right now. Back on my job cause the breakthrough, oh yeah. I praise God I got my breakthrough, yeah. Atmosphere I'm about to break through. Getting closer to my God, they call me the Star Sailor, yeah. The Star Sailor, sailor, yeah. The Star Sailor, sailor, yeah. The Star Sailor, sailor, yeah. The Star Sailor.
There's a lot more to an album than just writing and recording. That's just the beginning of it. Decided to try to mix, promote, and market an album during our busiest season ever. Summer. We did 11 summer camps this season, and we did other events other than that, but we did 11 summer camps. So I learned that I'm gonna have to mix this album on my son's DJ headphones in hotel rooms, green rooms, airplanes, airports, porta potties, bathrooms, wherever I can fit my laptop and a pair of headphones. And so that's what I did. We even went to Wisconsin for my wife's family reunion, and I'm in there like in her grandma's little day room, you know, trying to mix and like just looking like a total introvert. And then we go into the minivan and like, hey, give me the aux cable, and we're testing the mixes. So
it out, bro. From the Windy City to Toronto. I ain't shot 6 guys, never got close.
But the cool thing was I could immediately test songs out. So I would mix a song and then bounce it out outside of the church, go in there and like, hey, Julian, let's try to perform this tonight. Let's see how they react to it.
This world ain't gets no better. That daily live forever. That daily live forever. Focus. I feel like I really condone it. Distracted by fatigue. Should we ever combat my fatigues? Why would I take a nap and be at ease?
So I've been mixing since 7 this morning. I took some breaks, filmed a music video. It's about 12:30. And we're going to be getting up at 7 a.m. to go to Music Group Studios in Oklahoma City in the morning. And run all these mixes through a real studio since mine is a shed.
This is when Adam made a choice that would change everything. A choice so selfish it would create a vacuum in his family's heart forever. A choice to detach.
I can't embrace my sin till I let go of my faith in friends, so I step slow.
I probably cried over, maybe shed some blood, I don't know, but I've like poured my life into these mixes. Now I'm in a room full of like, I don't know, we had like 8 people. Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
Here we are, we're about to mix this new DC Talk record. Help us to see the masses through this moment, that what passes through this mixer and goes on will, you know, reach thousands. If you want to reach millions, I'm okay with it, God, that would be cool, but definitely thousands. So we pray that we would honor you during this time and that we would take it serious, that we keep our hearts in check. And we just thank you, we love you, we thank you for creating us with this creative bent, and we thank you that we can reflect you in an imperfect way in our creativity. I'm in a room and everyone's critiquing my work.
I mean, you could multi-band compress it too.
Here, I'll let you do that.
That's right, rise up, sucker.
Like, please, and thank you.
Yeah, I can do it. I also had, during the bridge, when Drew's vocals come in, they definitely feel very, like, it feels like there's like a syllable that he says that's quiet and then loud and then quiet.
Oh yeah, John, me. Yeah, you're right. That last one, we'll have it.
Can we get shirts made that say Matt's right? Come on, dude, it's perfect. Your name is Matt Wright, and just say Matt's right.
Hey.
So, because of that, this is my best mix project ever. They were so helpful. Things that my ears probably can't even hear anymore because I've listened to music too loud for too long. They're hearing, they're pointing out, and it was awesome. And it was just overwhelming to see this album just came out of nowhere. Like 2 months ago, we had nothing. We spent 2 weekends writing and recording. We spent about a month mixing, and now here we are listening to the final product, and it's not garbage. Everyone was tired. People were falling asleep on the floor, standing up at the mix board. People were throwing things down my shirt and the back of my pants, just picking on me and being cruel.
Start sailing, back on my job just to break through. I praise God I got my breakthrough. Atmosphere I'm about to break through. Get me closer to my God and call me the star sailor.
So for all you people sleeping, wake up.
Thought of it, the heart behind it, I'm in love with this album. So I can't wait for people to listen to it. I can't wait for it to impact people. That's what I'm praying for.
Really good story that talks about drifting, which I myself have really struggled with in the past, like just a few years, the past 3 years or so. So for it to really come across in song form and story form, and to really hit the actual the hardships of it, the darkness of it, because I mean it is really dark whenever you're drifting, when you're away from God.
Be motivated to not sit back and do nothing, to be motivated to go out and talk about Christ.
Read the story Drifting, listen to the album, start at track 1, work your way through to track 12, and I think this will give you a clear picture of Jesus as the solution to our drifting, and that you can be anchored in him. Thank you everyone, to my wife, Samantha, and just how much you sacrifice during these seasons of our life, these seasons that seem to come far too often now when I'm working on an album. Thank you, Julian, for putting up with listening to every song 100 times as we travel places, me trying to make sure I like the song. Thank you, Malia, for being a huge inspiration creatively. Thank you, Samara. I felt like your hugs and your sweet smiles just like gave me strength to write more music. And Josiah, you being the awesome miracle in my most truest worship service was in the delivery room with your mom whenever you were born. This album is for you guys too. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for supporting me. Thank you, Mom, for being a picture of the power of the gospel to break the bonds of addiction. Thank you for writing out the sweet intro to the documentary. Thank you, Dad, that I have a dad who's continually told me that he loves me, something that some kids never hear, that I have a dad who tells me that he's proud of me. Thank you for that. I love you. Thank you, everyone, my brothers, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. Thank you, my church family, my pastors. Yes, I'm still a member of the church. I'm just a part-time missionary.
This life is leading me to see that you are everything. Oh, you are everything. This life, give it to me. I will offer faithfully. I will offer faithfully. This life is leading me.
Let's see that one more time. And